So today's workshop is creating a powerful LinkedIn profile. And the process of creating a LinkedIn profile, it doesn't become powerful right away. And so I'm going to give you some ideas of how to get started, and then you're going to make it more powerful after this workshop. So by raise of hands, how many of you are familiar with LinkedIn? You've heard of it, you've seen it. Okay, how many of you have made a LinkedIn profile? Okay, all right. So that's good for me to know. So when I went back to work after being out of it for almost 20 years, I did not have a LinkedIn profile. I didn't know what it was. Somebody just said to me, well, you know, how's your LinkedIn profile? I was like, wait, what's a LinkedIn profile? I didn't even know what LinkedIn was. So I had to learn about LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is one of the most powerful social networks that you can use to rebuild your work, profile, in the public, and also to network. And so just to give you a little bit of some facts about LinkedIn, there are 930 million members of LinkedIn. LinkedIn actually was founded and launched 9 months or 6 months before 9 months before Facebook launched. So it's been around for as long as Facebook has. And the other fact about LinkedIn that I love is there are 61 million job searches on LinkedIn every week. So that's a lot of job searches on LinkedIn. That's weekly. So LinkedIn is a social media network, just like your Facebook and Instagram. It's a way to be able to connect with other people, but it's a professional, network. So there are people that have made LinkedIn profiles that are moms. They've made that because they want to be able to just put themselves out there and connect with other people. And it may not be even for a professional way, but just to be able to have, a profile that people could go to and learn about them. And then there's other people that obviously want to connect and network with other people to be able to either get a job or to just connect with other people in their industry, other people in their same job role to get better. And certainly those who are looking for jobs, LinkedIn has a powerful way to be able to get those jobs. So LinkedIn, again, is like this very professional, powerful LinkedIn network that you can, use. And the way I got started on LinkedIn was I just, Googled how to make a profile on LinkedIn. So since a lot of us here haven't made a profile, it's going to be a very basic introduction to LinkedIn, and you're going to be able to make your profile after this. So if we had a lot of time, I would have had you all bring your laptops and we would have made it together. But this workshop is an hour, and there's not enough time for you all to just do it at the same time, and because some people work faster and others work slower. We are going to talk around this agenda first so you can have an idea of what we're going to accomplish in this session. So we're going to talk about, we obviously talked about the importance of LinkedIn profile. We're going to talk about listing your work experience, your skills, building a professional online network, getting recommendations and endorsements for your profile, and then setting weekly LinkedIn goals. Like I said, building your powerful LinkedIn profile takes time. So just getting it started is the goal right here. And then over time, I'll be giving you some tips and tricks of how to make it more powerful over time. So we'll get to that. There are statistics of job opportunities on LinkedIn that I wanted to share. And it says here, approximately 3 people get hired every minute on LinkedIn. And there are over 15 million jobs in the job portal that are on LinkedIn. And job seekers who have a comprehensive profile, meaning they filled out their education, their experience, their volunteer experience, etc., have a 71% higher chance of getting a job interview. So if you think about it, that's like a great place to start. Certainly there are other ways to get jobs, but I love the power of LinkedIn, and it can be very effective. So we are going to jump right in to setting up a LinkedIn profile. So when you go to LinkedIn, you're going to type in linkedin.com. Join now is where you're going to go. So this is what mine looks like because I've already got a profile, but you're going to hit join now, and then from after that, you'll be signing in. And so I'll show you what the next screen looks like. So this is where you're going to fill in your password information, and then they give you a chance of what kind of job are you looking for. So it makes it really easy to start brand new from scratch, as if you've never had a profile, right? So you can select up to 5 titles and locations. So I just made this up for fun. Educator, receptionist, account manager, customer service specialist, retail salesperson. And what you do is you just type in the job title and it'll bring you a drop down of lots of options, okay? So if you typed in retail, it'll bring up retail blank, retail, like lots of different choices. So you can choose from lots of different options that you think you might have some skills around or what you've done in the past. So that's kind of where I started. And then job location. So if you're looking specifically in Utah, you would put Provo, Utah, or Salt Lake City, Utah. You can also check this box that says I'm open to remote work, which nowadays there are tons of jobs that are remote. But when I started on LinkedIn, there were no jobs that were remote. At least that's how it seemed like for me. You can get notified when new jobs are posted. So I have on and on. So these are just for 2 job alerts that match what I'm looking for, and you can create more later. So I just have these 2. Account manager and teacher, those are on. So I'm gonna be notified anytime a job that meets the location requirement and the title, the job title requirement. So then you'll click next. And this says, let recruiters know you're open to new jobs. Again, this is just very basic starting out. It makes it really easy. I want recruiters to hire me. So I'm gonna say yes. And then you can click next. And then this screen will come up and it'll say connect with people, lets you see updates and keep in touch. So here's where you can either search for specific people that you know that you want to connect with, or it will give you suggestions of other people based on the information I gave. So for example, down here, you can't see it in this, but like this is a homemaker. And because I put homemaker in some of my other information, that person came up. This person, I had done home as one of the search words, so home mortgage came up. But if you're very specific, they'll feed you people that are like you that you might want to connect with. So this is more, if you just go to this section and it shows you all these people, I don't know that I love that because you're maybe connecting with people that you don't know. I would actually type in names of people that you want to connect with. So who are the type of people that you would connect with? Like, if you were starting out and you haven't been working with colleagues and you don't have coworkers, who would you want to connect with? I connected with friends and family first. So I literally made a list of all my friends and all my family members. My Uncle Larry, my cousin Tim, my Aunt Susie, my neighbor Jean, just literally made a huge list and I just plugged their names in, okay? And then they would come up. Their profile would come up if they're in LinkedIn. Some of them weren't. And I would hit connect. And then it'll bring you up a screen to be able to connect and you can give them a little note. Hi, Aunt Susie, I am joining LinkedIn. I would love to add you to my network. Will you connect? And then they can see your request and you don't even have to put a message there. You could just put connect and they'll connect. They'll get a message that you're wanting to connect with them. Very easy. I literally put every person I knew. I mean, anybody at my church, anybody that I had worked with at United Way, I searched for everybody. And the other thing that's great is the algorithm in LinkedIn will learn who you know and the people that they know, and that it'll continue to feed you more people to connect with. Because that's what they want to do. They want to bring in more people to the platform because the more people that are on the platform, the more it's used and it builds the whole community. So I would just, once I connected with somebody, they would then feed me other people and I'd be like, oh, I know that person too. We both did PTA together. And that's how we ended up being connected. So it'll continue to feed you new people. And we'll talk more about the things you're going to do on a weekly basis to build out your profile. But this is a great place to start because you want to start connecting with people. Because the idea and the power of the platform is those connections are going to help you get your job and help you get confidence. So that's a very important screen that I really think is the great starting point. Once you do all of that, it'll take you to another screen, which is the main screen that is your very beginning of your profile, okay? So I've been starting my job search. So all those screens that I answered, are building this profile, okay? So it says a quarter complete. So once you continue doing all of those questions, then it fills up. And it says here, add your work experience and skills to show your strengths to recruiters. So you're gonna update your profile. So that's, again, a prompt to you of what you can do next. And these are just job searches that they're suggesting that you do. I don't worry about that. But here is me, okay? So before you have a picture and before you have anything uploaded, because again, I haven't done any of those pictures yet, you're gonna show up as just a little picture in the corner, and that's where you're going to actually start building your profile and adding your picture and your information. So I'm going to take, let's see, actually I'm going to skip to this one. These are all of those little prompts that we went through, so you just kind of feel like comfortable that there's a lot of content you're going to be adding. And then this is where you're going to start to build your profile. So if you clicked on me, that drop down would come, or if you just click on that icon, you would come to this page. And I just made a sample one. It says Sally somebody. And I put homemaker at home because that's who I am right here. And you can see my contact information. I can add that, and it says Provo, Utah. And these little pencils in the corner of each section means if you click on it, you can change it, you can edit it. And so that's gonna be your clue to make changes. So, and when you click on that camera, it's gonna bring up a screen to help you choose a picture. So one of the most important things you want to think about is your picture, because that's the first introduction that people are going to get to you. So you want to put your most professional looking photo. You don't have to have a professionally taken photo. Ideally, your background would be plain or not very busy, and you would be dressed in the way that you would want to be hired. So in other words, if you're going to be a businesswoman, you would dress professionally, like in a suit or a nice blouse. If you were like a truck driver, you might be a little more casual because they don't care that you aren't wearing a nice suit. Dress in the manner that you want to be, the job you want to be hired for. And you can have someone just take a picture. You could just have a plain background and take a picture. It could be at church when you're dressed nice already. And just make sure there's good lighting, make sure it's not a group photo. You could certainly crop yourself out. Let's say you took a family picture and that looks really nice. You could crop out the family. I know that I think my very first one was a cropped out picture. I think it was myself, and you could see somebody's shoulder in my picture, and that's okay. I mean, just get something up there, right? And nowadays, some people will make little avatars and they'll do other fun, funky stuff. But while you're first starting to build your profile, just make it who you are, and a nice, happy smile. Have it represent, the kind of person you want to be in the workforce. So once you upload that picture, you have an option also to change this background. Now, I actually never changed this background until I had a job. And that's when I was given the background from KT Tape, which was my first job. They gave me the LinkedIn profile background because they want to promote their company. So oftentimes you'll see people's backgrounds. Sometimes they're just made up. They're kind of fun. You can go to canva.com, I'm sure, and create a background. You could take a picture, like a photo of the landscape of Utah, and you could add that. You could upload it to your computer, and you can use that. And there are some, more technical things you can do, but just to start, just be easy. Just get your picture there. And then your name is obviously important to represent yourself. So I actually have my maiden name in my profile. It says Heather Nemelka, because I want people who I knew when I was single and not married to recognize me, right? And so if I had former classmates, when I connected with so many people, I connected with 2 former classmates that I graduated from high school and college with. So I made sure that was in my profile. But you don't have to do that. It's just something that I wanted to do. And I also like it when people have their maiden names, because I might not have connected with them for years and I might not recognize them from their picture, but if I have their name, then I can search for them. So that's something definitely to consider. Your description there, homemaker at home, is going to be from all of those, what you filled in, all those squares, those different prompts. And so it can be anything. If you're a homemaker and you don't want it to sound like homemaker, it could just be, we talked about this a couple of workshops ago, like domestic engineer. You know, that sounds a little more, you know, I don't know, a little more fancy. You could have consultant, because let's say you've had a background in design. Maybe you were a graphic designer at one point, and you've helped other people with their businesses or their you know, Instagram account or whatever. You've been consulting, so you could do that. There, if you use ChatGPT or any AI tool to, you know, or even Google, you could just Google what are some more sophisticated or professional terms for a homemaker. You could do that too. And then this gives you some other great options here. And this is awesome. So this open to, if you click on that button, you will get, and I'll go back to it. Do you see this woman here? And it says hashtag open to work. The great thing about LinkedIn is about a couple years ago, well, actually it was during the pandemic, I believe, or just before the pandemic, when everybody was losing their jobs, they started this open to work option here, and also hiring. There's also a hashtag, I think, hiring, so that people looking on LinkedIn, if they came across your profile and they could see that you were looking for a job. So in fact, a friend of mine, I didn't realize they were out of work until I saw them, they came up in my feed, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know Nate didn't have a job. And I reached out to him and I said, you know, yours says open to work. Are you looking for a job? Because some people do have a job, they're looking for something new and kind of more just maybe out of their industry. And he's like, yeah, I'm looking for a job. Do you know of anything? And then we were able to talk, and I was able to connect him with some people. So that is great. So I'm going to go back to that open to. So when you click on that, it'll say, you know, you'll be able to choose to have that little thing that says open to work. So I think that's awesome. And also then I said they also have the hashtag hiring. So if I was a manager looking to hire, I would have that, I would change that to say open to hiring. You can add different profile sections. You can add a custom button. So for example, I have on my profile, and if I have time, I'll show you mine. I have a custom button so that someone could click on it and they could go to my website. So they could just get that. And then this one that says open to work, these are all the different jobs you again, this little pencil here, you could fill in all the different jobs you'd be open to work for. So people that have open to work and do have a job, they might put in there, you know, I'm open to work in a new state, or I want, maybe they don't have to have a new job, but they're just open to looking for another opportunity. And this is the one that says share that you're hiring and attract qualified candidates, get started. So this right here is where you're first going to get started, right? And the other thing that's interesting is for your home and your location details, for my profile, I've chosen Salt Lake City, Utah instead of Provo. And the reason why is because I don't want people thinking, oh, I'm in the middle of nowhere. Not that Provo isn't known by some people, but some people just don't know where Provo is, and I want it to sound like I'm in a metro area. So I have Salt Lake City, Utah as my location. But you'll see some people have Lehi, Utah. It's not wrong to have your exact location, but I'm just sharing what I do. And then as you go further down, it'll show you different things to achieve in your profile to complete it. And again, these are all different steps to get to the end that you've just built a more professional profile. Profile language, you can choose here, English. So if you speak Spanish, you could change it to Spanish. This is the public profile and URL. So ideally your URL, which is the www. whatever in the browser that you see, that's called a URL. You will want to have it be your name. And so that somebody could just type in www.linkedin.com/Heather Nemelka. Make it really easy. So right now, this Sally somebody has these digits, it's kind of long. You're gonna wanna click on that pencil and take out those digits and make it just your name. Just an easier way for people to find you. And here on the right side, you'll see they'll suggest people that you may know. So again, how I told you about the algorithm, the algorithm works to connect you to additional people. So they're on your right side, you're always gonna see new people for you to connect with. And you're going to wanna connect with them because again, it's gonna build your network. And like, I wouldn't have known that Nate was looking for a job, but because he was already in my network, I saw his information. So, and then just up here at the top, you can always go to home, which will take you to the home page. It gives you a screen of your feed and similar to like Facebook, where you can get on Facebook and it just shows you all these different posts. And then your network, you can click on that, and those are all the people you've connected with. So that's a great way to find them really fast. Again, these are the people you've already chosen to connect with. Jobs, if you're looking for your job, you're gonna go there because that's gonna have all the job, it's the job portal. Messaging, so you can connect and talk to people, and see this little screen right here, it says messaging. You can make that bigger and it'll pop up and it will show you different people you're having conversations with. So I like that because it allows me to, so for example, I'm speaking at BYU in a couple of weeks, and my old MBA professor reached out to me and asked me if I'd be willing to speak. And if I hadn't been on LinkedIn, maybe he would have not, remembered me or so he just messaged me and says, Heather, can you speak? And I'm like, yeah, this is great. So that would be messaging. Notifications, that just notifying you of someone's birthday, because you can put in your profile when your birthday is. So sometimes it's kind of fun, because another great way to connect with people is just to say, hey, happy birthday, and it doesn't have to be a long message, but just thinking of you. Or it'll also notify you if people have had new jobs. Congratulations on your new job. Super happy for you. So I think that's a great way to connect. And I'm not going to talk about some of these other things because they're more of the business premium, kind of more advanced, I guess, so to speak. So any questions about this before I start? I'm going to show you somebody's profile. Okay.
With the title, like you have the homemaker at home there, if we have had past employment but it's not current, is it better to put like currently in the homemaker line, or something from the past?
Whatever's from the past you could do, right? So in other words, if you had been educated and your experience was as an accountant, certainly you can get rehired as an accountant. You just have to brush up on your skills, maybe take the CPA exam. And so you could put accountant. And we'll talk a little bit more about this description, because I want you to build a really powerful profile. But that's a great question, because that, you want, I would put there what you want to be, as long as it's realistic. Okay, so we are going to go right into LinkedIn in action. And I found this specifically because she is a mom who's returning to the workforce. So this gives you a really clear idea of what her profile looks like, okay? So hers says, current BYU pathway student, and then colon, administration certificate, and then a dividing line, dedicated mother and homemaker, dividing line, resourceful problem solver. So she chose to highlight what she's involved in currently. She's gone back to school, she's getting her education, and she is a dedicated mother, which means she's hardworking as a mom, and she's also a resourceful problem solver. So I'll show you my profile in just a bit, but what I like to do is I like to put these little divider lines to be able to show multiple things in my profile that somebody could look at right away. So for example, if you have an MBA or CPA, or you have some indication of additional education, PhD, you might want to put that in your profile. If you are certified, CPR certified, and you want to be a nurse, maybe you'd put that in there. So anything that kind of highlights what you have accomplished or what your goals are professionally, I would put that there. And this says 76 connections, which means she has connected with 76 individuals on LinkedIn to build up her professional profile, which is awesome. And this little picture of this woman here, she says, Kim Harris, MBA, is a mutual connection. And that means that Jessica and I both are connected to Kim Harris. So she and I both know this Kim Harris, and I have Kim as a first connection, and so does she. So Jessica, to me, is a second. Do you see that? Okay. And those second connections are still great to connect with too, but they don't know you. So most likely they don't know you. So you'll want to make sure if you do want to connect with them, you give them some background as to why you're connecting with them. So I can connect with her. So if I hit that click right there, I'm just going to show you. Because let's say I looked up the name Jessica Brown because I knew her. I'm going to click on connect, and it's going to say add a note to your invitation. Personalize this invitation by adding a note. So I could write and click on that, add a note. Hi Jessica, I can see that you and I both know Kim Harris. I'd love to connect with you. Hope you'll accept. And then it will then send her that note and she can decide whether to connect with me. Or I can send without a note. So if I already know someone really well, I don't feel like I need to let them know why I want to connect with them. So if I wanted to connect with someone that is my next door neighbor, I wouldn't say, hey, I want to connect with you. They already kind of know why you want to connect. But if you don't know them or you think they might have forgotten who you are, I would put a note. And so, for example, sometimes I'll want to connect with someone who is pretty successful, like a CEO or somebody who maybe I don't have a close connection with, and may have met at a networking event and they don't remember me. I'll remind them in that note. I'll say, hey, we met at this event. I'd love to connect with you, and then they can decide whether they want to connect with me or not. The thing that's really important with this too is that there's not a ton of space to write your notes, so you kind of have to be judicious with the words that you choose, but just let them know. And sometimes too, like when I was first starting out, I would say I'm re-entering the workforce. I really am trying to connect with people to build my network. I hope you'll be willing to connect. And so that hopefully people would look at that and be like, oh sure, no problem, I'll connect with you. So I think that is something that's a great way, again, to build your network, because the more people that know you're looking for a job are going to be resources to you, all right? And like I said, you may not even be looking for a job, but just want to build your network and you just want to connect with more people. That's fine too. You don't have to be actively looking for a job right now. So, and we're not going to deal with more, but and then down here, I'll move this up. You can see people similar to Jessica Brown. So you can scroll through additional people to connect with, and they'll tell you if you have a mutual connection. So that says mutual connection. So I could click on Heather and find out who we're both connected to, and it will show me who the mutual connection is, okay? And then this is the About page, and this is very important. So to have a complete profile, this is one of the most important sections, because this is going to tell them about you. And I love hers especially because it shows exactly what your goals should be as a mother returning to the workforce. She says, hello, I'm a proactive BYU pathway student pursuing an administrative assistant certificate with more certificates to follow. That shows that she's proactive. She's hardworking. She's trying to build her skill set, right? These will culminate in a BA in Applied Business Management. I'm eagerly seeking opportunities to broaden my skill set and contribute to dynamic teams. She's saying right there in the first paragraph what her goals are, what she wants to accomplish, and that she's not just sitting back. She's like working hard. She's not resting on her laurels. She's learning. She's growing. And this next paragraph tells a little bit about herself. In my free time, I'm an avid chef, exploring culinary arts. I find the creativity and attention to detail in the kitchen translate well to my organizational and problem-solving skills. Isn't that brilliant? She took something that she's doing right now that she really enjoys, a passion she has, and she's translated it into the workforce, into work skills and job skills. So we talked a little bit last time about how to translate your mom skills to job skills, and this is exactly what she has done here, which I thought was great. She talks here about learning the guitar. And then she says, recognizing the value of music and enhancing my receptionist and customer service abilities. Again, she's trying to say, I could be a receptionist, I could do customer service. These are things that I think will help in that endeavor. Then in this next paragraph, she says, I'm also proud to be a member of the Intermountain Choral and Symphonic Band in Springville. So it shows she's got some outside interests. She's well-rounded. And she continues to talk about the power of music to build a sense of community. And then she says, in the very last sentence, she says, let's connect and explore how my diverse experiences, both in and out of the workplace, can contribute to your team's success. So she's saying right there, let's connect. So you want to have a call to action. That's what that is called. It's called a call to action. You are telling them what you want them to do. So again, you're going to see all these people view profile because they want you to connect with more and more people. So as you go down here, she has chosen these as her top skills: office administration, management, volunteering, customer service, creativity, and innovation. If you click on that arrow, it'll show you that she could go in and she could show me even more skills, but that's what she has chosen to highlight there. And then as you go down here, this shows her activity. It shows her how many people are following her. It shows her how many posts. So you can do a post on LinkedIn just like you do on Instagram or Facebook. Comments that she may have made on somebody else's post. So if she clicks comments, it'll show the post that she's commented on and what she has said. And images may just be images that she's posted to LinkedIn. So then we're gonna scroll down here and we can see her experience. Now the first thing she shows here is homemaker, and that's perfectly fine. Again, that's the term that she chose to use. And she says Brown residency, so that last name of Brown, and then how long she's been a homemaker. And this is optional. She didn't have to put this information about the dates and stuff, so that was her choice. And she just talks about her journey of being a stay-at-home mom with her 5 children, and she's accumulated so many skills. She's learned to organize. She's a head manager of scheduling and making sure each is followed through. So she's taken all these skills that she's acquired as a mom and translated into the job skills. And again, you can Google this. You can Google, I'm a stay-at-home mom. You can do ChatGPT or any AI tool. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I want to know what skills I have done that can translate into job skills. And it will give you a list. It'll give you articles to read. You can do all of this and talk to other people. You can say, hey, I've done this, this, and this. What do you think I could do in the workforce? And I think that's really helpful. So she has a paragraph, and I'm going to show you mine. Mine has some different paragraphs, but it's nice and concise. Then she has teacher. So this is when she was a teacher. She had a contract for 9 months, so she was probably a substitute teacher. And she was a health and wellness coach for 2 years, chairman of the parent board. She was a receptionist years ago. And then if you click on that, it'll continue to show additional experiences. She has chosen to include all of her work experiences, and that's what I did. So even though I think now I don't have any of those jobs that I had way back when, because now I have enough jobs on my profile. But when you're first starting out, you want to show something. So I was doing marketing, and so I did advertising as a graduate of college. So I have some advertising experience, so I was able to put that. But typically, once you've gotten to a certain point, and if you have a lot more experience, I wouldn't include all those, but certainly as you're starting out, I think that that's perfectly fine. And then as you go down here, you can see the education. You can, again, this is all information you're going to put in the profile, again, with those little pencils. It'll give you the drop down, and I'll show you that in just a sec. So then Utah Valley University, it shows what she did, the different classes she took, experience that she had. And then here is a section on volunteering, which is awesome. So a lot of us here have either volunteered with church, it could be Cub Scouts, it could be PTA. Any of those things are very important. So a lot of companies like to hire people who are involved in the community, who want to give service, because that shows that you are, you have a heart, and you're really encouraging, trying to help others. And so that I think is impactful. So those were volunteer experiences. And then skills, and she can show 50 skills. So this just shows her top skills here: telephone reception and travel arrangements. So as you're choosing your skills, make sure you're choosing those skills that are reflective of the job that you want. So for example, if you were wanting to be an educator, a teacher, school teacher, you'd want to put skills that relate to that. Again, you can just do a search to find out what are some relatable skills that have to do with this job role. And then here are recommendations, and I'm not going to go into this in too much detail because we don't have a lot of time, but you can reach out to people and ask them to give you a recommendation. So if you worked with someone years ago, you could reach out to them and say, hey, Rick, I'm returning to the workforce. I would love to get a job as a receptionist. Would you mind writing me a recommendation? If you would feel comfortable, write me a recommendation of what I did. And I would say to that person, here are some things to jog your memory. So if it had been a long time, I would actually give them a bunch of bullets. As you may recall, I did this, 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 and this, because they'll be appreciative of that, because that's what they can use in their description, and they can recommend you, right? So it's basically a way for someone to come to your profile and go, oh, well, Rick says, it's my pleasure to recommend Jessica for her exceptional work as one of my assistants. This lends credibility to what you did. It doesn't have to be from, 5 years ago. It could be from 20 plus years ago. And because he's able to show all of these skills, you would want to highlight that. You would want to remind him, remember I did this project and I was this, and then he can add whatever he wants. And then further here, it shows your interests. So you can choose to follow different companies and organizations that you are interested in. So she's chosen to follow Brigham Young University and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You can follow groups, you can follow schools. So those are just interests. Again, it just helps people or potential hirers look at your profile and go, oh, you know, that's great. She's you know, expanding her interest. She's learning about different things. So I'm going to view my profile, and this is me. So this is my background that my current company has given me. So, you know, if I wanted to change that, I click on the pencil. This is me, and again, I put my maiden name in parentheses so people would know that that's my maiden name. It gives you an opportunity to record how you pronounce your name. So let's say you had a really difficult name. You can actually click that little button and speak it, and so that people can hear what your name is. I love it when I can click on that and I'm like, okay, that's how I pronounce that person's name when I call them or we talk. So you can see MBA, so because I have an MBA, Global Head of Stakeholder Relations, which is my current job, board director, because I'm on a board of directors, Women Tech Global Conference speaker, and former Amazon. So anytime you worked at a really important job, like a company that's well known, it's good to say former Google, former Apple, former, you know, because that shows that you worked at a prestigious company. This is my current company, and this is my education, the university I graduated from. And again, this is all what you can change by clicking on that pencil. And then it says, it gives me an opportunity to show what I like to talk about. So it talks about Utah AI, confidence, working moms, return to work, and career re-entry. So those are themes that I like to talk about. So if somebody wanted to have me as a speaker, they could go, oh, we need somebody to talk about, you know, return to work, and I'll contact her. Again, this says Salt Lake City metropolitan area, and then contact information. So I have my email address. I don't have my phone number. You could put your phone number, but I just have my email address so someone could email me and contact me that way. You don't have to have your contact information because they can message you within the platform, but I don't mind. I don't mind putting my email. It shows how many followers I have and how many connections I have. And then again, I could click on these. So that is visit my website, and I was able to customize that. So if you had a blog, you could put there, visit my blog, and you could link to that, because that would again give more information about yourself. And then as you scroll down, I can see the analytics for how many posts. I need to do a better job of posting. You can see different resources. And then this is my about. So my about is kind of long. You know, some are shorter, some are even longer than that. But this tells that, and I wrote mine in the third person. I think some people like theirs in the first person, others like third. I did mine in the third person. So Heather Nemelka is a marketing leader with over 20 years of experience, blah, blah, blah. And I said 20 years because even though I haven't been in the workforce for 20 years, I have experience marketing my eBay. So I use that as my experience too. So don't be afraid to put the experience that you have doing whatever it is that you're trying to get a job for. Sometimes this is all someone will read. This is all a recruiter will read. So you want to give some important information there. And again, this is experience. Like I did not have all this when I first started. This is populated since I started working again. Education, licenses and certifications. So if you are certified in something, you can click on this and you can add it. You can, you know, show the credential, you can show these certifications. So again, if you are even CPR certified, even if you aren't doing a job that requires CPR, it just shows that you care to learn, you're growing. That says something. If you did a free certification online, I would add it. It just, you know, it just really helps your profile. Volunteering, this shows all of my volunteer. You can see Cub Scouts, Cub Wolf and Movie Blows Den Leader, PTA Reflections Program Director, Book Fair Director, okay? Those are all things that are, you know, just, again, just shows that I'm involved in the community. I'm sure you have lots of things like that. And then if you go down here to skills, these are some of the skills. And these endorsements are other people can endorse you for that skill. They can verify that, yes, Heather knows how to do marketing. And then they will often ask you to endorse them too. So I'm not going to go into that, but that's something you can add. These are the recommendations. And I literally reached out to them. So if I clicked on this post, the this little plus, it says ask for a recommendation or give a recommendation. So I will literally, when I got laid off during the pandemic, and I reached out to a bunch of people, and I just sent them, I click on this and ask for a recommendation. It allows you to send a request to people who are on LinkedIn to give a recommendation. And I just said, hey, I was just laid off from my job. I would really like to get a new job in XYZ. Would you mind giving me a recommendation? And again, if I hadn't worked with them for a while, I would give them like some prompts of, remember, I did this, I did that. And that is really, really important. And it actually feels really good to have somebody give you a recommendation too, because like I felt like I was a loser when I lost my job. I was like, no one's gonna hire me. And then when I reached out to people and they wrote these really nice comments, I was like, oh, maybe I am hireable. I felt good about myself. So that feels really great. And you can give a recommendation too, which I think is fantastic. So usually there aren't a lot of recommendations that people have, but I just reached out to a ton of people and they were kind enough to leave recommendations. Publications, so let's say you wrote an article for The Friend, or you had anything published, you can add that. Honors and awards, so if you had any honors, you can put there. Languages that you speak, and I have Spanish limited working proficiency, so you can add the proficiency. Organizations, I did Canyon Crest Community Council and Evergreen Heritage Foundation. Interests and causes, so if I was involved in any causes, you can add that too. So there's so much you can add to your profile, but I'm not asking you to do all this now because there is obviously so much that you could do. It would be crazy. It would just be way too much. So now, what are the key takeaways from today? Because I want you to think about what we've just learned and have it embedded in your mind. Use LinkedIn as a job search and networking tool. It's super powerful. This is where you need to get started. And again, it just helps build confidence. Everything you do that shows progress on your career reentry just builds confidence. Even if you're not looking to get a job right now, just start doing these. Highlight transferable skills. So as we talked about some of the things that mom had put, those are all skills that she was able to highlight and show in her profile. Leverage the experience section. So you don't have to have work experience. It could literally be volunteer experience that you had. Set LinkedIn goals each week. So that's something I really wanted to talk to you about. So when I have these classes, I love giving a checklist out because I like you to have something to work towards. So this was actually last week's, and this is this week's, the creating a powerful LinkedIn profile, okay? So in this checklist, it's going to give you some of the goals that you're going to be setting each week. So your first checklist is, have you registered on LinkedIn and created a profile? So your first thing you're going to do is just get on LinkedIn, make a profile. You don't even have to put your picture on it yet. Just get on and put a profile, like put your information in. And then have you added a professional looking headshot? I didn't say professional, just professional looking, all right? That is another checklist. Have you added your work experience, skills, education, and volunteer experience? Again, just making another step. You can check that off. Have you connected with all your friends, family, neighbors, former coworkers, church members, etc.? Make that list and then connect. So I put this kind of in this order because that's how I went about it, all right? So you can do it your own way, but that's what worked for me. And then lastly, have you set your weekly goals for improving your LinkedIn social presence and started to network? So this is your last thing that's going to be over a period of time. So all those all those things, that's every week you're gonna say how many more people you're gonna connect with. It takes time, right? Because every time, especially if these are people who you don't know, you're actually having to say, remember me, we worked together 20 years ago or whatever. And that takes time. If you're just connecting with people who know you, that'll be easy, it'll be really fast. But that should be a goal that you're setting. Another goal should be, I'm going to get a certification in the next month. And again, try to pick one that will have to do with the job that you want to start doing again. But it could also just show that you're learning, you're growing. That is important. It shows that you set goals and you're educating yourself. So these networking goals too, just connecting and asking for, recommendations. That could be, I'm going to ask for 5 recommendations this week. So something I've talked about before, I'm really big on goal setting. And it's because I just believe in even just little baby steps will get you to your destination over time. My favorite book is Atomic Habits, and it's because it talks about atomic small habits that build on each other and then become something really impactful and purposeful. So when you are going back into the workforce, it's just super overwhelming. I had no idea where to start, and it felt really good to have one thing I could do. Making a LinkedIn profile felt really, really good. And it's interesting, when I first got on LinkedIn, I connected with other moms who had LinkedIn profiles. They all said, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Amy is on here. And she wasn't in the workforce, but she had a LinkedIn profile. And obviously other people that did have jobs in the workforce that I connected with. But just setting those weekly goals is going to be really important. And then I always love to share my favorite quotes, and this one is one of my favorite. Everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear. This is scary. This is hard. I know exactly how you're feeling. I know you don't feel like you can do it. It feels overwhelming. Get past the fear. It's scary, but this is the best thing, and you're going to be so happy. And I always close with this because these are my kids, and when I first started this journey 10 years ago, they were all at home, and now they're all out of the home. And it was scary, it was hard, and now they're proud of me, and it's awesome. This guy in the middle is married to my daughter, but it's fantastic. And so I encourage you to go to braven.com with 2 V's. I'm going to be adding the videos. I'm going to be adding a newsletter. Right now there's an option to connect and join the newsletter, but it's not really connected quite yet. So know that that's coming. And also, if you would follow me on social media, because I'd love to help as many moms as possible. If I'm helping 5, that's awesome. But if I'm helping 500, then I'm helping 500 moms. And I know how scary this is. I just want to help others. And this is the way I want to contribute. And so if you have friends that are thinking about this, let them know about it. It's just fun and easy. And when I say easy, meaning easy to come, you're going to work. It's going to be hard work. But I promise you, you will be blessed, and it will be really rewarding. So hopefully this is what you're going to be. You'll get something out of this, and it'll be fantastic. It'll change your life. So anyway, thank you for joining.